All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're deconstructing something absolutely wild. How James Rallison, who you probably know as TheOdd1sOut, built a massive multi-million-dollar animation empire basically out of simple everyday webcomics. It is such a fascinating journey. We're talking about outsmarting the algorithm, totally understanding audience psychology, and leaning hard into the power of a really good, maybe even slightly embarrassing personal story. We're going to break down the exact strategies that took him from just doodling comics on Tumblr in 2012 all the way to executive producing his very own Netflix show a decade later.
Okay, to really understand his genius, we have to look at how he hooked his audience. Check out this line. You're telling me this whole time people have been using ASMR to mean climax and that's not even what it means? He literally opened his breakout 2016 video, My Thoughts on ASMR, with this exact phrase. Talk about a misleading hook, but it was an absolute masterstroke. It grabs your attention instantly by addressing this hilarious, slightly controversial misconception. But more than that, it shows complete vulnerability. James wasn't afraid to look a little foolish or totally naive in front of the whole internet. And it turns out, that willingness to just share an embarrassing, hyper-relatable moment is exactly what triggered his channel's viral explosion.
The numbers from that single, nearly 10-minute video are just staggering. Before it dropped, James was pulling in a very respectable 10 to 20,000 views a day. Not bad, right? But after this video caught the algorithm's attention, everything flipped. His daily views skyrocketed up to 200,000 a day, and his subscriber count, it literally leaped from 20,000 to over 100,000 practically overnight. This wasn't just a lucky break. It was the ultimate proof that his unique blend of simple animation and vulnerable storytelling had massive, widespread appeal.
Let's move on to Section 1, Surviving the Algorithm Shift. Because to really get how impressive James's rise was, we have to talk about the totally hostile landscape of YouTube animation back when he was just starting to pop off. See, between 2012 and 2016, traditional animators were in serious trouble. Pre-2011, the platform loved short, punchy 1 to 2 minute videos. It was all about total clicks. That was perfect for animators who spent weeks making high-quality, short clips. But then, the algorithm shifted. Suddenly, it was all about minutes watched, watch time, and consistent, frequent uploads. The platform just wanted to keep people watching for as long as humanly possible.
You can probably see the trap here, right? For traditional animators, crafting high-quality, frame-by-frame footage took anywhere from 2 to 5 months just for a few minutes of video. There was simply no way they could hit those frequent upload schedules, and their videos were way too short to satisfy the new watch time demands. So, while traditional animation channels were practically dying out, James figured out a highly specific cheat code to give the system exactly what it wanted.
Which brings us to Section 2, the TheOdd1sOut Phenomenon. This is his second pivotal moment, and it perfectly captures how he weaponized everyday life. He just started animating stories about working at a fast food chain. He hilariously called it TheOdd1sOut to poke fun at his real job without, getting sued. In the data, it completely backs up this strategy. He dropped the first Subway video about a month and a half after that viral ASMR hit. In just 1 month, his total channel views exploded from 6 million to 30 million, a jump of 24 million views. Plus, he scooped up 300,000 new subscribers, all off the back of a story about making sandwiches. So why did it work so insanely well? One word, relatability. That was his secret weapon. By talking about incredibly mundane things, like annoying customers, goofing off in the walk-in freezer, his dog Floof, just the grind of a minimum wage job, he built this incredibly deep bond with his viewers. No epic fantasy quests needed. Through this funny, down-to-earth storytelling, millions of people felt like they knew him better than their own friends.
So how did he mechanically pull this off? Let's dive into Section 3, the strategy of simplicity.
Here is his formula, and it's brilliant. Those iconic white bubble characters, that wasn't just a stylistic choice. By keeping his characters uncolored, he completely skipped the most time-consuming part of animating. That saved time meant he could actually produce longer, 10-minute videos, perfectly feeding that algorithm's hunger for high watch time. And he stuck to quality over quantity, uploading about every month and a half. So whenever that little white bubble popped up in a feed, it was an event. People clicked instantly.
And his actual production process? Super accessible. You really don't need a massive Hollywood setup to get started. James was drawing with lightweight software like Paint Tool SI and editing in Adobe Premiere. The magic was in the storytelling. By making the narrative so engaging, he essentially locked viewers into these endless binge sessions.
If you watch part 1 of his Subway series, you're absolutely watching parts 2 and 3. And that high session watch time is exactly what prints algorithmic gold.
Now, here's a really interesting pivot he made early on regarding money. He straight up said, I don't do sponsorships. I think it's like, as a business, I want to promote myself. James intentionally walked away from corporate sponsorship money so his videos could stay completely focused on his personal brand and that raw vulnerability we talked about. He promoted his own merch, his books, his games. That protected the incredibly intimate, authentic relationship he had with his fans.
Moving into Section 4, Collaborations and Community. The thing about the animation space is that it actually thrives when creators stick together. Since they can't upload every single day like a gamer or a vlogger, lifting each other up is basically the secret to survival.
And because animation collabs really only require the other person's voice audio, James went all out. He networked with everyone, fellow animators like Jaden Animations and Domix, musicians like Boyna Band, and even platform giants like Mr. Beast and Anthony Padilla. Remember when he won Mr. Beast's $100,000 YouTuber Battle Royale alongside Jaden and Anthony? Yeah, these team-ups constantly shoved his content in front of massive new audiences.
If you want to see the ultimate power of collaboration, just look at Life is Fun. He teamed up with musician Boyna Band to make an upbeat, super catchy song all about existential dread. It's totally ironic, totally him, and it became his most viewed video ever, racking up over 112 million views. It just proves that stepping slightly out of your comfort zone with the right partner can lead to absolute fireworks. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, Beyond the YouTube Canvas. Because James didn't just want to be confined to a video player. Just follow this timeline for a second. The hustle is unreal. 2012, he's posting webcomics on Tumblr. 2014, he starts the channel. Fast forward to 2018, he drops a New York Times best-selling book. 2020 gives us his mobile game. And then in 2022, he does what most creators literally only dream of. He premieres Oddballs, his very own 20-episode animated series on Netflix. And the grand total of all this effort? Try 19.5 million subscribers on his main channel and over 5.74 billion total views. Yes, billion with a B. It's undeniable proof that simple relatability, vulnerable storytelling, and just knowing how your platform works can captivate the entire globe. You don't need complex art, you just need to connect on a human level. So, to wrap up our explainer today, I really want to leave you with this thought. If a creator can build a Netflix-level empire just by drawing white bubbles and laughing about an awkward fast food job, what simple, relatable stories are you holding back from the world? Seriously, what hyper-relatable experience of yours could be the exact key to your breakthrough? Because sometimes the most mundane things in your life are exactly what millions of people are desperately waiting to connect with. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and keep looking for the extraordinary in your everyday life.